Hey, Sassy Stuff. I'm Emma,
I'm Blythe.
and we're here to talk about the Ohio State and Oregon game. Now, Ohio State absolutely dominated this matchup. They just came off playing Tennessee in the playoffs, and now they played the Oregon Ducks, who did have that bye week, and they were on fire. It never seemed like Oregon could catch up at all. So, this was an incredible performance from Ohio State. Sometimes playing is good, experience is good. So, how'd you feel about this game?
Yeah, they say, peaking at the right time is perfect, especially during this college football playoff run. And what a time to peak for this Ohio State team. I know there were some questions when they played Michigan early on in the year and, looked absolutely lost. And then they go in and absolutely dominate Tennessee and then come into this game and I mean, honestly, give so much credit to this team. Honestly, this coaching staff as well. I know Ryan Day, everybody kind of had him pinned on the fence as a coach, but we have to give him credit in this. This was such a big win. This was a domination win. I think a big statement win. And it was just honestly really exciting to see. They looked great. I think, one of the main things we learned from this game is that receiver Smith is absolutely going to be the future of this football program. He is such a rare blend of size and speed and body control, and he is absolutely going to be one of their star players from now until his entire time at Ohio State. And the defense figured it out as well. I mean, this was a very explosive Ducks offense that was just held to 276 yards in Pasadena. So that speaks for itself. The defense played lights out. And I think, this Ohio State team dominated on both sides of the ball during this football game.
Yeah, the whole time, Oregon, it just seemed like they could never catch up. There was that one moment in the third quarter that I was like, okay, if they get this touchdown, then maybe we could get something going here. They failed to. But like you were saying, Smith, he's a freshman sensation. He had 7 catches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. He scored that 45-yard touchdown on Ohio State's opening drive. He had another long touchdown catch in the second quarter with 161 yards on the first half alone. And Will Howard, he just proved that maybe should have been the Heisman finalist over Dylan Gabriel. He is absolutely sensational. And just like you said, peaking at the right time. I know there was a little controversy because they didn't really let him on the stage during the Rose Bowl presentation. I was like, where is he? But he at least won the game. He still had his cool Rose Bowl hat. But he threw for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a long pass to Mbuka for a 42-yard touchdown. He had a first quarter career best with 212 passing yards. And of course, Henderson, he had a game-changing 66-yard touchdown run. So the offense was dominating from the beginning. And of course, the defense just shut down this Oregon offense, which we have known to be sensational and high scoring this entire year. But they just couldn't do it. I think they had 8 sacks on Dylan Gabriel. That first game against Ohio, they had 0. So a big, big improvement on the defense.
Yeah, there were 8 sacks and 13 tackles for loss with 9 pass breakups. And Ohio State's ground game was great, too. That was led by Bashawn Judkins with 85 yards on 17 carries. And Travion Henderson added 94 yards on 8 attempts, including a 66-yard touchdown run and another score on an 8-yard run. And for me, after watching this game, with them peaking at the right time like this, I really don't see who can beat this Ohio State team playing this good.
I don't either.
I just don't. They got hot at the right time, and that's so important, especially with this added playoff and added extra weeks of football, and you might get rest time, you might not. Just a lot of things go into this, especially with this extra part of the season. So them getting this hot right now, I just don't see anyone beating them right now.
I don't either. I mean, the fact that they took the Heisman finalist, Dylan Gabriel, and put him under constant pressure all night. He still had 299 passing yards. He did have those 2 touchdowns, but he could not get much going. They kept getting shut down time after time. They just had no offensive rhythm. They were trailing by 34 points. So it was not a good day for Oregon. And I go back to Ohio State. They had that big loss to Michigan, and then they were able to play Tennessee in that first round of the playoffs. And sometimes having a big game like that really sets the momentum for what's going to happen in your playoff run. And having that big win over Tennessee kind of led them into this game being like, we can be dominant on both sides of the ball. So let's just continue to do that. Let's do what we do well, use our wide receivers, rely on Will Howard's arm. So I thought this was a sensational performance from Ohio State. And you know what? They're going to go on to play Texas. Texas really didn't look that great against ASU. So I think they might win that game as well. These are different rosters. I think Texas has a sensational roster, and on paper, probably could be the better team, but I just don't see anybody beating Ohio State right now. If they continue to play to this level, we will see Notre Dame and Georgia play later today. So maybe one of those two teams can show that dominating performance as well. We haven't seen Georgia yet in these playoffs. They will be led under Gunnar Stockton, but until I see something as dominant as Ohio State, I might be riding with them all the way until the national championship.
I think there's so too. I think this team's going to be hard to beat. There's only 2 more to go until that national championship. And, this is just one of the most talented teams in the country right now. And if they keep playing like this, I just don't see anyone stopping them. And I really don't think Texas could get it done either. Last night for them was a shaky performance. I've said all year, I was never sold on Texas. Still not. That's not changed. And if this Ohio State team keeps playing like this, I just don't see. I don't see who could probably beat them unless Georgia maybe. We'll have to see. But I do want to say, prayers to the people that are in New Orleans. Just an absolute tragedy. So prayers go out to those fans, those people. Just absolute tragedy that's happened there. So just wanted to.
No, absolutely. It's devastating. And they've all had to shelter in place. And I'm sure it's rattled the teams as well. It's rattled everybody in New Orleans. So, I mean, that's going to be an interesting game to watch, just to see the mentality of not only the players, but the people in the stands. But looking at Oregon here, I kind of feel bad for them because they were the number 1 team, the number 1 seed. And it just shows how important seeding can be, because Boise State got to play Penn State. And it's like maybe Oregon should have had Boise State as their first game, or a team like ASU. So it should be seeded better, or an Indiana type game, because technically it's not fair that they should have been playing Ohio State or Tennessee in their first round of the game. So I think that will definitely change moving forward. But it'll be very interesting to see how these playoffs continue and to see how they shift into the future.
So as of right now, I know we haven't seen the game tonight, but as far as what you've seen so far throughout these playoff games, who do you think goes all the way?
Without seeing the game tonight, I think it will be Ohio State and Georgia. I just think Georgia under Kirby Smart, I know they have a new quarterback now, but that team really rallied around Gunnar Stockton in the SEC championship. My one worry for them is the same thing that happened here to Oregon, is just not playing. Having that long of a break, I think, kind of kills their momentum coming out of the Big Ten championship. So I hope that doesn't happen to Georgia. I don't think it will, because they've had that long of a break before, going from the SEC championship to the New Year's game. So I think Kirby Smart can really get his team in the right mindset. And I'm saying this now, and we don't know the winner. So maybe it'll be Notre Dame. But I will be picking Ohio State and Georgia to make the playoffs. What about you?
Yep. I'm thinking the same. As far as we've seen Georgia play all year, I know it looks a little bit different with a new quarterback. So I think tonight we will get more of a clearer vision there of kind of what we think. But if we were speaking in terms of like right now, before this game's played, I would have to say definitely Ohio State and Georgia would be my final 2, because I'm just not sold on the Longhorns.
Not sold on the Longhorns. I'm not sold on the Fighting Irish yet. We say this now, and then they win big, and Georgia goes home tonight.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how these coaches have regrouped these 2 teams with the tragedy that has gone on. And, you think you're playing at 7, and then the game's moved, and then you don't know what time, and it's just like all a mental battle. You can't leave your hotel. Certain people have certain things they do to get ready for a game. I don't know if they take a walk, if they go to the movies on a Friday. Like, you just don't know. So, especially in a game like this that is so big, and then something that a tragedy that happens right outside your hotel. It's just how do you get into that mindset? But these are two great coaches that they have that I'm sure have prepared them and been there for them and mentally prepared them to get over what has happened, to get ready to still play in this important football game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to have to really hone their teams in to focus into what they're doing in the moment. And I know there's a lot of things going on in the outside of it all, but again, we send our deep love for the people in New Orleans, and we hope everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. We will be taking you all the way into football season, and then all of the other exciting sports to come when football season is over. But once again, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.